Offshore wind is a huge opportunity for our country. So we are absolutely able to be an energy.
That's not the definition of an energy superpower.
They're doubling down on it. Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David. Today we got Mark Carney's Environment Minister doubling down on his EV policies, getting absolutely grilled by Conservatives. Got a bunch of other updates here. Let's jump into this. Starting this one off, we got some new polling data. This is coming from Nanos. This is 39% for the Liberals, 35% for the Conservatives, 12 NDP, and 8 Bloc. Moving ahead, we've got one of the largest Iranian diaspora rallies in history. And here's a shot of the Iranian people in Toronto. So there's some music in there we have to mute, but yeah, this is massive. All the way down. And I do believe there's going to be some updates coming soon on that. Donald Trump's going to be making some moves in Iran. He's moving over a second fleet of aircraft carriers and ships over there right now. New York Times reports that the order has been given for the USS Gerald R. Ford carrier strike group to sail from the Caribbean to the Middle East. It will be the second carrier group placed there on the Iranian coast, together with the USS Abraham Lincoln. Bad news for Khamenei. Yeah, they're getting ready to do something over there in Iran. We thought this was going to happen like 2 weeks ago, but it seems like the go time's coming. We got this one, which I thought was very shocking, coming from the Netherlands. They'll be launching 36% tax on unrealized capital gains. This is applying to unrealized crypto and investment gains, as in if you make gains on an investment, but you don't realize them, you don't sell them, thus you don't actually have the money because the stock could tank and you could lose those gains. They're going to tax people who have gains on something they haven't sold. This is ridiculous. This is interesting. Taxing unrealized gains has already failed in Norway. Norway's government expected 150 million in revenue from taxing these unrealized gains. Instead, it cost a massive $54 billion to flee the country, and it cost them $600 million instead. This is the dumbest thing I've seen in quite some time. Jumping ahead, we've got some updates from Tumble Ridge. We've got talk about Mark Carney and his appearance there. I brought it up in the previous video that Mark Carney spoke in French numerous times, clearly just getting sound bites. Did he really care about the people of Tumble Ridge? Was he talking to them? Well, we've got this. Nothing says unity like blurring out the opposition at a vigil so you can center yourself in the glow. So Pierre Poilievre is right here. I don't think this person was ever in this photo. They just put someone over top there, blurted it out, and created this vignette where Pierre Poilievre isn't seen, so Mark Carney can post this on his social media, or his team could do that. Meanwhile, the main image that was going around is one like this, but Mark Carney's not going to post that on his social media. We also have Cosman here from Juno News posting this. A Tumblr Ridge local who attended the vigil last night sent me following observations. After the vigil, Carney vanished, but David Eby and Poilievre stayed behind. Numerous people approached Poilievre and spoke to them individually. Almost nobody approached Eby. No kidding. This is a very conservative town and David Eby is a disaster, but at least David Eby stuck around. Mark Carney jetting out of there. He doesn't care about Canadians. Let's get real. We also got an update on the Tumblr Ridge monster. Apparently he tried to end his entire family in 2023 by burning down the house. He was just sitting out in the front when the fire trucks arrived. Police dismissed the incident. And then he went on to later admit this to the arson on social media, saying that he did it on the shrooms. I went crazy and burnt my house down. Complete break from reality. Many consequences ensued. Police made numerous calls to the home over mental health and pew-pew incidents. There was 4 pew-pew used in Tuesday's bad event, and none of them were registered to the home. This needs some serious investigation here. I mean, the system clearly broke many times. This guy should have been put into an institution. He should have not had access to all these pew-pews. This is just a tragedy. And with that, we've got an update here on Maya. So day 4, we've seen encouraging news. Maya started attempting to initiate her own breathing, which is truly incredible. The nurse also noted slight dilation in her eye. These are positive steps forward. So one day at a time. She wasn't supposed to survive the first night there, and well, she's still fighting. So with Carney releasing his EV plan, getting rid of the mandate on selling so many EVs in Canada, and now just switching to a subsidy program which just boosts up American sales, we've got Julie DeBrusen, Carney's environment minister, getting grilled on this committee whether she would drive a Chinese EV.
Minister, in light of the recent announcements around Chinese EVs, I'm curious if you will personally be permitted under current federal security guidance to drive a Chinese manufactured electric vehicle, yes or no?
So first of all, I think that we should place this within the larger automobile strategy, which was a great news announcement that we had last week for industry and for environment. No, I will answer your question. I am happy to purchase any EVs that are available on the market in Canada.
Including Chinese manufactured EVs, Minister?
Purchase any EV that's available for purchase in Canada.
So
no at the time that I would purchase it, but
so no security risk for any EV, Chinese EV manufactured in China.
No, and I will go on to also add in, though, we're talking about also investing in building EVs here in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all know that's not going to happen. She says she has no problem buying Chinese EVs. Well, I'll give her one thing. At least she is somewhat answering the question. Unlike Mark Miller, Francois Philippe Champagne, Mark Carney, you name them. In reality, would she buy one? Probably not, but who knows? She's lying. Why the F would we invest in Chinese EVs being built here? Why would China ever want to build their EVs unless they were being heavily subsidized by Canadian taxpayers? Because she's on China's side. Let's jump over to the House of Commons, where once again, the Conservatives are hammering down on these EV policies Carney's brought in, which is terrible for Canada, good for America, and, well, China.
Speaker, the government's own data shows that building bureaucracy doesn't actually get results. But the Liberals also have it backwards on the auto sector. In the last 10 years of the Liberal government, the number of vehicles produced in Canada has fallen from 2.3 million cars to 1.2 million. Their plan force working Canadians to send their tax dollars to subsidize the purchase of EVs that most Canadians can't afford, and the vast majority of which of those EVs sold in Canada are not made in Canada. That means some of the biggest winners of this subsidy program are American auto workers. Instead of forcing Canadian workers to subsidize foreign-made vehicles, why not adopt the Conservative plan and remove the GST on all new vehicles?
Mr. Speaker, I would like to remind my colleague that the money that is going to be supporting EV incentives is actually for Canadians at a time where we need to make sure that affordability is at the core of everything we do as a government. And that is why Canadians need to be able to have access to more money to afford the right cars, including those made in Canada. Thank you, sir.
She's unbelievable, just defending this America First policy.
Despite the Liberals signing on to $52 billion to create an EV supply chain in Canada, the vast majority of EVs bought here are not made here. And now, despite the massive government subsidies, the auto companies are recording multi-billion-dollar losses on EVs and abandoning or delaying EV projects. But the Liberals now are doubling down with their new $2.3 billion EV subsidy, where Canadian workers will be forced to subsidize the purchase of foreign-made EVs, including EVs made in the United States. At a time like this, Mr. Speaker, it's unconscionable. Will the Liberals reverse course and stop Canadian tax dollars from funding the American-made EVs?
The Honourable Minister of Industry.
Of course, we believe in affordability, and we believe that Canadians can have access to EV incentives up to $5,000 for a car up to $50,000, and also for Canadian EVs, because obviously we believe that the future of the industry is towards electrification. Recently, there were more EV sales in Europe than gas combustion cars. And
they believe the future of. They already tried this, wasted billions of dollars of our money, and now they want to try it again because Mark Carney hasn't cashed in yet. Let's go back to what Melanie Joly just said there, that Europe just recently sold more EVs than ICE vehicles, traditional combustion vehicles. Well, let's look at the size of Canada versus the actual size here of Europe. So this website here allows you to put the country over top of other ones to compare actual size. You can see Canada looks bigger than America, but it's pretty similar. So we put this over Europe, as she just said. Our country is bigger than all of Europe. And well, what does that mean? Well, most people are not driving to work from Austria to Hungary or to Romania, or they're not driving from, Germany to Poland for work every day. They stay within their little tiny country. These are all tiny countries. But in Canada, our geography is huge. Every one of these provinces is way bigger than any one of these countries over here. It's not even close. You see that argument that Norway has 90-something% of their new vehicle sales are all EVs? Well, most of their population lives in Oslo, Bergen, or right around the coast here. Most of the population is down here in the south here because warm waters come up from Africa and it's actually quite mild. The temperature is year round. The climate's better there than a lot of places, in most places, than in Canada. And most of the population does not live anywhere up here on the top. So that's why their EVs work, because most people are within about 3 hours of driving distance of everything. All the cities, all the travel, period. And the same thing goes in Europe. I mean, look how small these countries are. She wants to call apples to apples. When I grew up, we lived in Stettler, Alberta over here, in Battle River, Crowfoot. There's plenty of families had oil workers who'd be driving hours every single day. They drive up past Edmonton or down to Calgary and back. They'd be driving all over the province for work. There's a lot of people across Canada that have to drive long distances in the winter. To power the vehicles, lithium ions travel through a liquid which gets cooled in the wintertime, creating more resistance and thus taking more energy for them to travel through, reducing the range. The technology just inherently doesn't work as well in winter. So until they solve that problem, the range is going to be not great in Canada, and considering our entire country is cold cold and winter, these are not ideal vehicles.
Same time, we know that in the next 5 years, 40% of all the cars worldwide will be electrified. So our plan is to make sure that we bring our industry at the forefront of innovation and that good jobs are created here in.
She doesn't know that. Like, she's speculating that she doesn't know anything because she's not a time traveler. Maybe that will be the case. Either way, let Canadians choose.
Mr. Speaker, the bottom line is the American tariffs have cost 5,000 jobs in Canada's auto sector and tens of thousands more jobs in the manufacturing sector across the board. And meanwhile, the Liberals created a $2.3 billion taxpayer-funded program that will subsidize the purchase of American-made EVs to the direct benefit of the American auto sector when they're trying to destroy our auto sector. This is wrong, and the minister could easily rectify this. Will she do that?
I have a lot of time for my colleague, a lot of respect for her, but she also knows that our auto industry is facing obviously important challenges, but it took months for the Conservatives to actually denounce the U.S. tariffs on auto. And we know that the entire...
This is amazing, the gaslighting here. It's the Conservatives' fault for not denouncing the tariffs on autos. Are you kidding me? She's failing so miserably. This is all they're doing now. Carney did it a week or so ago, blaming Pierre Poilievre for the problems he created, and now she's doing the same thing here.
Sector is integrated within North America, Canada, U.S., Mexico. Now, when she's talking about EVs made in the U.S., she has to take into account, and Conservatives need to take into account that Canadian auto parts are part of these EVs. Is she going after the Canadian auto parts workers all across Ontario? That's my question.
Oh, please. The majority of auto parts built in Canada are not for EVs. Now, jumping away from the House for a second here, we've got this clip coming from David Bexty grilling Julie DeBrusen once again, this time on clean energy, tax credits, Darlington nuclear projects, offshore wind. Julie DeBrusen gets called out for the lack of energy superpower projects really going on in Canada.
Let's change topics here a little bit. Do you believe Canada should be an energy superpower?
Absolutely.
So the reason I asked this is that I heard directly from Canadians, energy leaders, and recent reports in the Globe and Mail suggesting that while your government talks about Canada being an energy superpower, its policies are sending very mixed signals to investors. We're still not seeing investment in energy industries as required to achieve that. We still don't see pipelines to all three coasts that we need to achieve that aim. What are you doing to enable that?
In this Budget Implementation Act, we have a clean electricity ITC that actually will
The scalability of clean electricity is not anywhere close to the opportunities in nuclear and oil and gas in order to truly become an energy superpower.
There is, in
what
fact,
are you doing for the easiest, best, lowest hanging fruit?
So interesting, though, because also the clean manufacturing tax credit, I believe, does help nuclear. Our major projects include the Darlington nuclear plant.
Understand that.
We have also put in place through our major...
That was already in place before Carney got there. Well, this is our project now because we're in office and this project's already on the go. This project was announced back in 2020. Site production started in 2022 and shovels in the ground started, you can see right here, Ontario investing $1 billion to build small modular reactors at Darlington right here. Construction on the first SMR began May 2025. I believe it was May 8th, 2025, as in 8 days after the election. Mark Carney had nothing to do with this, but here they are trying to take credit. And she was an environment minister, so she can't take credit either.
Major projects office was referrals, clean electricity through Wind West. These are opportunities. Offshore wind is a huge opportunity for our country. So we are absolutely able to be an energy.
That's not the definition of an energy superpower.
Yeah, it's right there. David Bexty's got it. You can't export that wind power. We can use that here, but we can't export that and make money from it. Oil and gas, coal, and nuclear. You can build those facilities around the world as well as export the uranium.
Point of order.
I think the Atlantic provinces would disagree with you on that.
The only way to export that power would be through transmission lines to America, and you'd have one customer. And they want to talk about diversifying away from America. That doesn't do it. These liberals got nothing. And what do? They just keep pushing these EVs on us.
On Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday evening, I was in Toronto with the Unifor Skilled Trades Council conference. Those are the men and women that actually work in our auto plants to make sure the machinery and equipment works. And when I told them that their tax dollars were going to go to subsidize the purchase of American EVs, they were outraged and disgusted. Actually, they couldn't believe it was happening. So it's simple. Why would Canadian tax dollars be going to subsidize American EVs when Donald Trump is trying to kill our auto industry? Will they show they care about auto workers by canceling the rebates for American EVs?
This is the right line of questioning to do here.
Mr. Speaker, finally, my colleague met with the Unifor workers. It took him months to do that. We've been in contact with Unifor since the get-go, before even U.S. tariffs were imposed. We've been in contact with...
That's right. They've been in contact with these people. They talk to those people. They talk with these people. No results, but job losses for Canadians.
...with them to make sure that we would be working together as one Team Canada, because it took also months for the Conservatives to actually denounce the U.S. tariffs on the workers. We're there with the industry, from industry, businesses, to auto workers, unions. Everybody's in favor of the auto strategy, including Premier Ford. Why are they?
Yeah, Premier Ford is a liberal, and the workers at Unifor, they're not buying this garbage.
I have met with auto workers for the past 2 years. It's how we came up with our policy to take the HST off of all Canadian autos. It's actually the union workers' idea. What isn't their idea is to give their tax dollars to Donald Trump's America to build American vehicles. And these liberals will not answer this question. Why are they giving these subsidies to EVs made in America when Donald Trump's stated goal is to destroy the Canadian auto industry? It's embarrassing, it's disgraceful, it's disgusting. They should look Canadian auto workers in the eye and apologize, but I know they won't.
Hear, hear. Known the colleague for a long time.
Yeah, she's had enough.
He does have passion, I'll grant him that. Sometimes that passion leads him to act a bit too quickly. He forgot to talk to unions, Mr. Speaker. Earlier this week, he and other Conservatives raised...
These guys are wild. They're blaming Conservatives. They're the ones in government.
...the situation of workers at CAMI in Ingersoll, talking about the withholding of severance. What he forgot to do is actually talk to Unifor. Local 88 in Ingersoll came out with a statement. I'll review it for him, Mr. Speaker. We can look at it together. They said that their political...
This guy is so smug and arrogant. He probably went to the school of Justin Trudeau.